Hey, I just wanted to have a quick update on the Jimmy Momo Zones study. Someone asked me how you can use the range on the study and what that means. For a higher level data, like this is, we've got monthly, weekly, and daily data on a 1 hour chart. Um, but in order to get the chart values up above, like up here where there isn't any data yet, you have to like look back, see how far back you need to look to actually get that data. So if we were to compress this chart by a lot, you'd see you have to go back pretty far to be able to find data there. I mean, even here it's not enough, but it's not until we get here that there's more data for us to actually use here and start building these zones up here. So you have to have a chart range that's at least that big to even get this data in there. So you want to have a bigger chart range for some of these larger zones, but then when you're in a 1 hour chart, you may also want to see the 1 hour zones, and you don't necessarily want to build it off of 90 days worth of data because you only get 20 zones over that 90 days. You want to see the zones from the last 3 days, and that's pretty easy to do by limiting it with the chart range. So if I go into here, this is going to look a little different. I haven't pushed out the update yet, but it's all using absolute timescales now. It's just if you're on a 1 hour chart, you want to use the 1 hour timescale. You can't use less than that if you try to pick a half-hour or 15-minute timescale on a 1 hour chart. It just won't work. You can only see higher level data or the same data on the chart you're on. So right now the default is to use the chart range, which then you don't use this range value at all. It just ignores this. When you use the chart range, it's using all 90 days to build these zones. But we don't want to do that. I mean, we want to use the last couple of days. So you would pick days, and now all of a sudden this range is what it's going to use. But it can't pull in 100 days worth of data on a 90-day chart. It'll only pull the last 90 days because that's the only data the chart has. So if you were to type in 90 here, then that would be the amount of the same amount. So I mean, either way, 100 or 90, it doesn't matter. It's only going to pull in 90 days. It only has 90 days to look at. But you can make it a lot less than that. If you were to make it, say, 3 days, then this is only going to pull in the next 3 days worth of data, and we should be able to see that here. So this is this is today, yesterday, and the previous day, and you can see now these zones have just popped in, and none of them go back further than the 3 days, and it concentrates them all here. And the reason you want to do this is because for 1 hour zones, you want the most recent data. You don't want it spread out over the last 90 days because you want the 1 hour zones that have the most impact most locally. And you can see that in action here, where this candle here created this zone, and it's actually respecting that zone. I mean, it's trying to get down below it, and it can't. So this is why you would want to do it this way, because this zone definitely wouldn't show up if you used all 90 days worth of data. So you can also use a number of bars. So if you were to use, say, the last 50 bars, that's about 3 days as well. So you would pick bars, and then it would use whatever this value is for that. So now it's going to pick the last 50 bars to build it from, and we should see about the same amount. I think it comes back a little bit further. But part of the reason you want to do it this way, yeah, it's about 3 days, is because you also don't want to have it process 90 days worth of data for every one of these studies. I mean, in fact, for the 4 hour one, I may not even want 90 days. I might have it a little bit less. The only reason I do is because for this particular chart, you have to go back that far to see these levels, and this is how I wanted to be able to use the 4 hour data from way back then, because this will actually respect it, which is the whole point of having that higher level data on this chart. But I also like seeing the 1 hour because it helps me make more local trading decisions. It helps for entries, to be able to gauge the intraday action. If it doesn't dip below this, and it holds this, then you know that this is a good entry, and you wouldn't necessarily see that on a 4 hour chart. So that's why you would want to limit the chart range for some studies, but not others. And that's how you do it. So if you have any other questions about it, let me know either on Twitter or in the comments. And I hope this is useful for you.